As I did my best to pull myself together, making it back to my feet again, I still saw it. That fog surrounding me everywhere. There was already a slight fog in this place to begin with, but this was way thicker. I could barely see through it. And out of nowhere I was hit again. A massive impact landing right on top of me, slamming me into the ground, crushing me into it. I could feel the pressure on top of me. It was its foot, or paw if you want to go with the animal version. The damn thing was stepping on me. And just as it lifted up, I was hit again, torn out of my little pit in the ground, and sent flying to the left. I don't know how far. I flew before I landed, bouncing across the ground like a skipping stone, before finally coming to a stop, grinding my way through the grass. What the hell is going on? I couldn't see it, but it was still hitting me. It would just come out of nowhere, and not the whole damn thing either. Just bits and pieces of it. A paw, a jaw, but never the whole thing. Okay, so it's in the fog. Maybe it's just hiding somewhere. Invisible or some crap like that. Okay, so let's ferret it out. I pulled the liquid steel back to me, forcing it to whirl around me, turning the streams of steel into countless, tiny spinning blades. Small ninja stars spinning in the air around me. Hundreds of them. This should do it. Heavy metal. Tornado! I shouted, and putting all the thought and effort I could into it, I sent all of them into a rapid spin. And then on top of that, forcing them to rotate around me in a circle, spreading out farther and farther into the fog, turning the entire area I was in into a freaking blender. A whirl of tiny blades everywhere. They stretched out into the fog to where I couldn't even see them anymore, but I could still sense them. They were out there, spinning, whirling around me. I could even see the fog ebbing and moving, starting to churn in a circular motion around me. It was working. The blades were moving. But then, I just got hit again. Another massive strike. This time another paw, in a slightly downward angle. The impact sent me flying into the ground to the right of me, bouncing off of it several times, before rolling to a stop. By the time I came to a stop, I was even starting to get hit by my own little ninja stars, bouncing off of my armor. What the hell? How was it able to close in on me? I had the whole place spinning with those stars. If it had crossed through, it should have gotten hit. I began to hear laughing from outside the fog. Having a little trouble in there? Don't think that any of that heavy metal nonsense is going to work on my big furry friend. He's also known as the Fog Hunter. He's essentially a spirit wolf that exists within the fog. All of that fog you see whirling around you is actually his physical form. He's everywhere, surrounding you. Within that fog, he sees everything, hears everything, is everywhere, and he can manifest and de-manifest as he chooses. No whirling little blades of metal are going to protect you. Use all the heavy metal shenanigans you wish. In there, it will do you no good. And I do apologize. He does like to play with his food. So I don't imagine this is going to be very pleasant for you, Sylvia shouted into the fog as I got hit again, slamming me back into the ground. Oh, this hurts. Kevin, you have to protect yourself. I'm trying to heal you. It's not very effective when you keep on piling more injuries. I get to minimize the amount of energy that I expend because of the strength of the King's power, but healing your injuries still takes a great toll on my energy reserves. You can't keep relying on the strength of the armor. You have to defend yourself somehow. Yeah, Nylea. Easier said than done. Fighting a freaking ghost dog. Or a fog dog. I don't suppose the difference really matters. But at this point, it kinda seems like I'm screwed. And at that point, I heard a very unexpected sound. The noise of a gunshot. And then another. One after another, gunshots going off. And I could see streaks of what looked like energy piercing through the fog, following each gunshot. As the streaks of energy passed through the fog, I could see almost what looked like surges of electricity arcing into the fog itself. And even, it sounded like a growling noise. Here and there, I began to see bits of form coalescing, but only slightly. The fog beginning to move and shift in strange ways. Some parts taking form, and then shifting back into the fog, and then the fog itself beginning to move away, drift in the opposite direction of the gunfire, as the area around me began to clear out. As I looked in the direction of the gunshots, there was Victor. "Well, it looks like you screwed this up, didn't ya?" he shouted, popping open his revolver, emptying out the shells. "I screwed up," I shouted. "Nah, buddy, you screwed up. You told me we were here for Alice, but you didn't tell me she had a freaking family, and that they were all freaking powerful. Like that's some information that you definitely could have filled me in on. Oh, and our little sneaking in bit didn't work either," I shouted frustratedly, trying to lift myself back up from a kneeled position. "Yeah, sorry about that. I actually knew about them. I just didn't expect them to be here. They were supposed to be on freaking vacation. I thought they'd be in the Bahamas or something, not just sitting around the house. I don't know. I guess I just can't figure out rich people. And sorry it took so long. Like I noticed you disappear. I couldn't sense your soul anymore. So I got worried and started looking. After a while of not being able to find you, I had the idea that maybe someone had pulled you into a mage space. I managed to find an active one, but unfortunately it took me a while to claw my way in. It's not an easy thing, you know." "Yeah," I said, looking over to him. "I get what you mean. The situation I'm in doesn't seem to be that easy either. I've been getting the hell beat out of me. I feel like warmed over shit." "Yeah," Victor replied. "You definitely look it too. Are you really having that much trouble?" "Are you freaking kidding me?" I said. "Trouble does not even begin to cover it. I have been blown up a lot. And for a minute there, I was a chew toy for a giant ghost dog that I can't seem to hit for anything. Speaking of which, how in the hell were you able to hit it? It seemed to skitter off from those bullets of yours." "It's simple, man. My bullets possess a great deal of spiritual energy, even if it doesn't have a solid form. That fog is a part of its form. When the bullets pass through, the energy still affects it. Not as much as if it were in a solid form, but enough to piss it off real good. Well, I suppose thanks are in order for saving my bacon. The remaining question is what the hell to do. These two are not joking around." "Well, you got that right," Victor replied. "The plan was to go after Alice at full force, but with her daughters here, there's no way. We're gonna have to pull out, even if we can manage to beat them. By the looks of you, and expecting we're gonna have to use a great deal of energy to beat them, there's no way we're gonna be in shape to fight her mother. And she is most definitely stronger than they are. It's a bad situation all around. I'm sorry I got you into this, but it appears we're not going to be able to meet our end objectives. At least not this time around. But I suppose right now we should focus on trying to come out of this one alive, and hoping we can get out without running into their mother. Half beat to hell, I don't think we're gonna have much of a chance in that situation. In the meantime, how about you drop some information on me? What do you know about these two thus far? To be honest, I don't really know the details about their abilities. Anything you could tell me could definitely help. I'm fact, it could be the difference between life and death.